Blog Talk Radio. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard. Hi everyone, it's Chatting with Nat. It's Natalie Jeans and Natalie Jean, and today we have country pop rock artist Erin Cosgrove. A real crowd pleaser, this phenomenal country pop rock artist Erin Cosgrove has it all. Based in Los Angeles and Nashville, this powerhouse singer-songwriter and actress has opened and written for some of the best artists in the business, from Big Rich to Love and Theft to Russell Dickerson to Danielle Bradberry to 1,000 Horses, with her confidence radiating from the stage. Her second single and music video, The Perfect Place to Start, produced by Grammy Award-winning producer Mikal Blue, was released on March 15, 2020, and was overnight hit with over 15,000 Spotify views in the first week and plays on Sirius XM The Highway. Other stations such as The Ranch, KFrog, and about 50 other stations around the country also picked up the song, which led a great deal of exposure and extended fan base. Erin has played shows such as Oakheart Country Music Festival, Roundup Country Music Festival at LA Live, Paddy Fest in the Tampa Bay Rays Baseball Stadium, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Erin admits that whether she's writing and co-starring for hit TV shows such as Parenthood, or performing at the House of Blues or the Daytona 500, or appearing in reality shows like Summer Camp, she feels most at home in front of a crowd or a camera. Never one to shy away from momentum, Cosgrove is excited to release another single and music video this summer called Ride That Bull that will be premiering on the Country Network, reaching over 40 million households. Be sure to request her on the Sirius XM The Highway. Follow her on Apple Music and Spotify and on social media. Erin Cosgrove Official at Erin Cosgrove Official. This is talent you won't be able to take your eyes off. Let's give her a round of applause. Hi, Erin. How are you?
Hey, Nat. Thanks so much for that. That was great. I'm good.
Yeah, that was a mouthful. You've done a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of long.
That's fantastic. So how have you been these past 3 years of cray-cray, Omicron, Delta, COVID, George Floyd, Ukraine, politics? The whole world is just, I don't know if the world is ending. I don't know if it's beginning. Something's going on here.
Yeah, I think when COVID hit, I just kind of went back into my shell, and I was like, okay, I'll wait for this to be over.
I mean, it's just, it's, I don't know. It's, you know, I like I tell everybody else, I have to pinch myself every morning to see if I'm living in the 21st century. I did get COVID back in December 2020, and most recently I got it again. I've been waxed, name it, boosted, loosted. I don't know what to call it anymore. At this point, I think I have to say, this is just a little flu thingy. I really don't know what to say. It's one thing we know, it's annoying.
Right.
Questions that I like to ask is this. I ask everybody this question. So we know that the past 3 years, especially the pandemic, have been awful. People have long COVID. Many people have died. People have lost limbs. People just can't breathe anymore. So we know that, yeah, it's been crazy. It's been bad. But out of all these things, believe it or not, there have been some pros. You know, one of the things I always say is that I saw family members walking with their families. And you don't see that much anymore, especially in my neighborhood. So I was just like, what is going on here? You have a colleague that was just like, he's like, I'm not working so many hours anymore, because what the pandemic did made him realize that he wasn't spending enough time with his family, so he cut back hours. There were many articles about people quitting their jobs because they felt as though, okay, I like making money, but I want to be happy doing what I'm doing.
Right.
That was a huge thing that happened. So a lot of people quit their jobs. They decided to do something they love. Climate change, while we were out for that year, the pollution level went down very significantly. And so the animals in the trees were hoping we weren't going to come out back. There was real people. We can actually breathe. Squirrels were like, oh, I don't have to watch out for these cars coming down the road. And then you have the artists like you and I. There are many people that created new tunes during the pandemic. They created a whole album. There's some people that decided to rebrand. There are people that decided not to do music anymore. There are people that just be an effective player. So my question for you, what I'm saying is that there's a lot of self-introspection. So what did you do? Did you do some self-introspection? Did you change as an artist? Are you remaining the same? Is there anything new on the horizon? What did you think about?
Well, I unfortunately experienced COVID during when I was living in LA, so I didn't exactly get to do much. They, pretty much had everything shut down. Right. I didn't work for about a year and a half. And at that point, my husband and I were kind of like, well, we should probably go where you can work. So
right.
We moved to Nashville.
Right. That's huge.
Yeah, it was rough. It was really tough for me, actually. I don't know. I wish I could say there were more positives that came from it. I think one of the major positives is that, the companies are realizing now that, they can, work remote. You don't have to go into an office so much anymore. So I think that was definitely a benefit. Sadly, that's not my husband's job, so he still worked the entire time. Yeah, he was working in the studios at Universal.
Oh, wow.
And they never shut the job site down, so he basically worked the entire time COVID happened while I was sitting at home twiddling my thumbs. And what's up?
I was like, yuck.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the hours weren't as bad as they normally are for him, but it was weird. He never really stopped. I think he got to take off 2 weeks, and then they're like, oh yeah, you guys can come back. And he's like, what? Really? Okay. Sure. So I had actually put out a song, and you read it in my bio. It's called The Perfect Place to Start, with the music video that released, sadly, 2 days after the world shut down. Actually, I think it was 2 days before. And we had done probably close to, $15,000 worth of PR and marketing and placement and all that good jazz for that song. And then everybody just, canceled. All the red carpet interviews were canceled. Radio stations were canceled. And I kind of got a little jaded from that. I'm not going to lie. That was tough to kind of come back from, because we basically put all of our apples into one basket and, got super screwed. And I mean, a lot of people did. I had friends that, were getting ready to shoot pilots for major TV series. I had friends that were, had just booked the best role of their career, and, pre-production had started on it, and they had gotten their shoot dates, and they're like, oh, sorry. And all of that stuff just got pushed under the table. And, sadly in the entertainment industry, you kind of have to just keep moving on. They don't really go back and be like, okay, we're going to bring that back. It's more like, okay, well, what else is there? What's new? So even after we reached out to the contacts, a year later, they're like, yeah, well, what do you have coming out now? I'm like, are you kidding? What? No. Screw you. So, I mean, I'll be honest, we're still trying to recoup back from all that, because, I mean, that was a lot, that 2019 was our best year. And then that happened. I was like, no.
That is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. It was a lot of time. It was a lot of people's time. it was a lot. So, I mean, mentally I was like, well, okay. I'm not going to plan anything. We're not going to bother plan. Like, we had a tour plan too. We had like all this stuff that we were going to do. And, so we just kind of, when I was sitting at home just contemplating life and twiddling my thumbs, and I got to a point where I ended up going and playing a festival because it was like an outdoor festival. And they're like, hey, we're just going to do it and come on out. And I was like, sweet, because I need to get out of here. So that was nice. And that kind of like spunked some, life into me. And I ended up writing a song from that one called Time to Live. And that one just kind of came out on a whim. I just went in the studio, produced it, and got it done. And then I did a Christmas tune, actually, too, for 2020, I think. Honestly, I don't know. These years kind of just run together. I'm like, wait, what year are we in again? I don't even know. I just don't count the last 2 years. This is them.
Everything is a blur. Everything is a complete blur. There are days I don't know which day it is, which hour. I have to look at my phone.
Right.
I was working a full-time job during the pandemic myself, and after a year I quit because I'm crazy, but for many reasons. I'm trying to sing this music full-time, so I completely get the whole craziness of doing music. And let's touch base on this $15,000 thing. Now, hard, especially for independent artists. I mean, if you really don't have the money to amass $15,000 for a budget, that is huge. Even for myself, when I promote my music, I'm using a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, and I'm basically doing everything myself. Like I get the Indie Bible, contact us, or use like people like Play MPE or CDX Nashville or these other promoters. And I've done fairly well on them. And I don't even know if the people ever play the song, but I know they download it and stream it. And obviously there are ways to find out with all these different sites that can say, oh, this your song was played here, yay! Industry. I mean, it's so.
Yeah, exactly.
It should. In my mind, sometimes I'm like, it shouldn't cost that much to promo. I ask people to contact me, and they're, well, it's going to cost you $5,000. And I'm like, well, I don't have that. I might as well just stick and do what I've been doing myself. And God, during a pandemic, and you spend all that money, you're just like, but I would think that what was during our, let's call it the downtime, that more people were more aware of independent artists because they had downtime, and because people are doing live streams. You would think that more people would be in tune to finding new artists. Let's face it, the industry is inundated with a bunch of the same mainstream artists over and over and over and over and over. It's always the same type of music in my ears.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you would think this is the best opportunity for them to say, oh my God, three people I just listened to them. You gotta listen to them. In fact, I want to do a challenge to radio stations to do that.
I feel like it was good like that for the first few months, but then it just kind of went right back to, okay, well, they have the money, they have the budget, and they're going to promote it. So it was good for a while. I'd say maybe like 9 months. I got a bunch of streams out of it. I did a bunch of like live stream stuff. But it was hard. It was hard because I did like probably 10 or 15 of those live stream sessions, and I just was already burnt out from it. I was like, I hate this. I really just hate this. I want to be on stage. Like, I don't feel the energy of the crowd. Like, I don't feel the people. Like, and it was just almost like doing the opposite. It was like sucking the life out of me. And then I ended up joining a live streaming app, and I was able to make a little bit of money on that, but still it was getting monotonous. And I was like, I want to be on stage. Like, it wasn't the same thing. Like, it was almost like, why am I doing this? So it was a weird mind game for sure. I don't know if you experienced that too.
Yeah, what was interesting for me is like when, especially if, we both had COVID, that during that moment, my brain was void. I wasn't in any moment, in any moment or time wanting to write anything. I don't know if you experienced this, but, I think when you have COVID, I know for me, there's a sense of emptiness. Like,
oh, see, actually, I never got COVID. I just had to sit at home and do nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, it's an emptiness, and I never thought of anything.
Yeah, no, I just was sitting at home doing nothing. I was like, okay, now what?
It was just like it was like really dreary, and you just don't. It was just like, even without COVID, looking at a world where you think like this kind of crap will happen, not in the 21st century, because you've heard about these things in 1930s, 1940s, and stuff like that, and here you are, there's a plague, what, in 21st century, and then it really puts things in perspective for you in your life and your goals and everything that you want to do with music. It's just, but at the same time, music is a great. This is our power. This is our superpower, because during these times, as I've told other people were craving authenticity. They were because the whole thing, fake news, blah blah blah. Every time somebody would read something, oh, okay, then they'd read somewhere, oh, that wasn't true. At least with the artistry, with the music, they knew that this was real. This is so traditional. This, and say, my God, Erin Cosgrove, my God, she gets me. And I've got to listen to her music. And it's just an amazing thing. And it got them through the day. Music has that healing power. It can move mountains. It can do so many things. And I think we're very blessed to be able to do those things. Now, how did you get into the music industry? What was it that made you say, okay, Erin and music have to come together. They have to become one.
I think it was kind of one of those things that I wasn't, I guess, born with. I don't know. My mom says I used to like walk around the house when I was like 5, just like singing and making up songs. And then when I got into elementary school, I was in like all the school musicals and plays and whatever. And I guess I got a lot of good feedback. And everyone's like, oh, you should do music. Oh, you should blah, 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 blah. It was a joke. Everyone's like, oh, you should move to Hollywood. Well, yeah, I did that. But it was kind of just I think it was like already instilled in me from a very young age that like, hey, this is my calling. Like, this is what I'm meant to do. And I tried to do other things, and I tried to do, other stuff that made more money and all that good jazz. But it, I would do it for a while, and I was just like, oh God, this is so boring. Like, I cannot do this for the rest of my life. And I would just come back to music and acting, and I'm like, I don't know, just something when I was really young just said, this is what you're going to do. And then, I went on to be in a national show choir in high school, took voice lessons. From there, I traveled abroad and toured with a national show choir, and then decided, like, last minute, no big deal, like, right before session is supposed to start for college, that, oh, I wanted to major in music. Whoops. Didn't audition for that. And it was interesting because the school's like, well, we'll let you come in. Sorry, my dog's making noise. Dog, stop.
Okay.
And long story short, I ended up getting in. I studied opera in college, which was awful. And it was kind of like, all right, well, now I really hate music, and I want nothing to do with it. So I started taking acting classes, and I was doing that through college. Yeah, well, when the teacher tells you that, like, you have to do it a certain way, and that,
nice.
a jerk and they fail you because you're working professionally at a theme park instead of going to their stupid class that wasn't in the syllabus. Yeah, get a little jaded. Oh, and then he failed me because he wanted to screw one of the grad students and teach her instead. Yep, that was fun. Oh yeah, good times.
Oh my goodness.
So it was from like a very young age, but then like, you know, you go through a lot and you're like, I don't know if I want to do this. And, you know, my dad's thing was, well, you have to get a college degree. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get one in the worst field possible.
There you go.
One that's going to make me absolutely no money because I'm not going to teach. Yeah. But again, like I was like, I don't know what there is for me to do that I would enjoy. I mean, looking back now, I probably could have gone into marketing because I'm pretty good at that, and I do that, you know, part-time. But it was, at the time, I was like, no, I'm stubborn. I'm going to do music.
You know what? You followed your gut. You followed your heart. You know.
I did, but I really wish I had followed my head.
You know what? But even if
you know what?
You would have still done music.
What's that?
Even if you had followed your head, you would have still done music.
Right, and you know, I always say you can't regret anything because you don't know where you'd be if you had gone a different way, you know.
That's right.
I could have ended up in some corporate full-time job that I hated and then, you know, not taken the leap, not moved to LA and, you know, pursued it. So, no regrets. It was just a weird experience for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good to follow your gut. You know, I never thought I'd be in music. My family's always been in music, but I was extremely shy. I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to get in front of people? And I mastered that. But, oh my gosh.
I was too, actually. I was really shy when I was little.
I was just like, oh my, petrified. Now I'm like, been there, done that. I can do it.
Right.
It's like, you know, my whole thing was that I was nervous of, you know, what people would think. And then I had to change that and just say, I don't care what people think. I'm just going to give them the best show that I can and just move from there. I mean, that's basically all that you can do. You know what I mean? Just give the people a good show and you move on. The music is subjective anyway. Not everybody's going to love you. And then then there are people that are just going to absolutely adore you. So
yeah, exactly.
It's really interesting. Now, how important is it for you to be authentic in your music and your life?
That's tough because, you know, a lot of the times, like, you know, maybe what's going on in your head it's hard to translate that into more of like a broad spectrum of, you know, the majority. Like a lot of my lyrics are pretty specific and I've kind of been taught recently to, you know, broaden them a little bit more. To make it so you're really capturing everyone, not just that one person that goes, oh, that's so funny. Like, I relate to that one word that everyone's like, huh? Like, I don't know what she's talking about there. I think it's important to definitely have like a idea of what you're going for, but not necessarily like specific. So the more, you know, I learn about songwriting, the more I do it, and the more I work with different people, you know, I'm learning new ways to, you know, write and new sounds. And I think, you know, this next single that we put out is definitely going to have like a different feel to it, but still kind of the same, you know, the same personality. It's just going to be a little bit more, I think, in line with, I hate to say it, but, you know, the vast majority, which it's a kind of a catch-22 because you want to be popular, but you also don't want to, you know, sound like everybody else. But if that's what everybody else is downloading and wanting to listen to, you know, what do you then put out? So, you know, it's always a struggle. You're always kind of like, well, I've got these 3 songs and I like them all, but they're all different. And which one's going to take off? You just don't know. It's a game. That's what I always say. It's a game.
It's interesting that you talk about that. And for me, it's like, I believe that everybody that does music was born to do music, but everybody has a different role in music. like when I first started out in music, oh yeah, I want to be famous, get on the charts, do all this stuff. And as I live deeper in life, all that stuff doesn't even matter to me. Like I enter songwriting contests, I go to award shows and stuff like that, and just to build up a resume. But charting and all that stuff is not so important to me. I want to be.
Well, it's also paid. I mean, at this this day and age, like nothing's authentic anymore.
Yes, nothing is authentic anymore, because obviously when we listen to radio stations and you're an indie artist and you're trying to compete, everything is pay to play, which is kind of illegal. Yeah. But anyway, that's another topic. But I've decided that I want to open this new dialogue, okay, in the sense that I do social impact message songs. Like before, I've done the whole breakup, love, death, all that gushy mushy stuff. But I'm more like, my last album was all social impact. We talked about from climate change to school violence and all the bullying to everything. And I find that these are the songs that I prefer to do. So I'm trying to open that niche. I'm trying to, gather more of the people that do that kind of music. Like, I love all types of music, but I'm trying to get the music industry to understand that it's not just the popular songs, the same damn crap that we listen to all the time. And it's not like the music is cuckoo. The music is great. It's always the same thing, to the point that all these artists that are on the radio station, they basically would have to die, keel over, in order for somebody else. But it's true.
No, it's true.
You're always about Taylor. You're always going to hear about Carrie Underwood. You're always going to hear about the same people. You're not hearing about the thousands and thousands and thousands of independent artists that are out there. They want to inundate the same people over and over again, unless you have the money to put that out. And that's not fair, because I was trying to explain social impact message songs to somebody else. I said, people just don't understand that. Some people, I don't know if this will chart. Social impact message song is not about charting. It's about making a difference in somebody else's life. And I think that that's the conversation that needs to be had in the music industry, so that we don't have to try to compete against all these people and do music we don't want to do. Like, I'm done with that. I do the music. I do it the way I want to do it. And once we open that conversation, these songs will be like, damn, I got to play this. This is going to help somebody else. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not that the other music's like, oh, when they listen to it, they're going to say, oh, that boyfriend, I hated him, and this, that, blah, blah, blah. No, it's more or less of opening a different avenue, because music has to evolve over time. Like, I went to a music conference 100 years ago, and one of the things they talked about was, okay, if you're writing a song for Rihanna, you don't want to give her something she's done. You want to give her something she hasn't done. But yet, that's BS, because every time you listen to something on the radio, she's doing the same thing that she's already done. Although she hasn't put out music in a while, she, it's just the people have to understand. It's all the genres. Music evolves. Even I do country and Americana, and I was just baffled the other day when somebody said, in country music you have to rhyme what? Aren't you supposed to be telling a story? What does it matter? I'm always, when I write a song, I'm always like, okay, verse, chorus, and I'm like, why are you writing this way? You work better when you just free flow, like if it's a poem. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think we try to stick too much to the rules because we think that's what the world dictates us to do. But sometimes there's got to be a bunch of voices that say, no, I'm going to write this song, and they're going to be people that love it because I'm expressing what they're feeling. You know what I'm saying?
I think you're totally right. I think the problem is, though, people are so set in the way that they think, you kind of have to trick them. You kind of have to lure them in. So, something that Mark Wahlberg actually did, which I thought was great. he's, I don't know if it's out yet or not. He just recently put out a movie that is like faith-based, and Hollywood would not pick it up. Nobody would produce it. They wanted nothing to do with it. And so he's like, well, screw you. I'm going to do it myself. He's got the money. Right. So I think, it's like, it's kind of one of those things, and I'm sure it'll do well because, he's paying for all the promotion. He's paying for, the production, which is millions of dollars. He's paying everybody. He's, bringing the actors on. But at the end of the day, he had to make all that money and do it their way for a while before he could say, hey, this isn't what I want to do. This is, not right. I would like to do it my way. So unfortunately, I wish we all could have, millions of dollars to say, hey, I'm just going to do it this way because screw you guys. But that's kind of where I look at it from more of like a business sense. And I feel like a lot of people, like a lot of artists don't really understand that side of it because it's an art and it's creative, but if you want to be successful in it, there is a business side that sadly has to be, looked at. Now, if you're just doing it and doing like, I don't really care, like I'm just going to produce it and I'm going to have my other full-time job and like that's what's going to support me, then do whatever the hell you want. I think it's great. Like I wish I had that kind of money to just be like, no, we're doing this, this, and this. But there is a different side to it as well. So I have to look at both sides just because I'm still in that artist, I guess, in that artist pigeonhole. I hate to say it. And I actually had this conversation with Danielle Bradberry's manager the other day. I was at a seminar and he was talking about, maintaining your brand and not caring what everybody else thinks. And I looked at him and I said, I think his name was Paul. I was like, Paul. I was like, I get that. I said, that makes sense. I said, but you can't tell me. You can't tell me that I can go out and just say, fuck this, fuck that, fuck you. I'm going to do it this way and have a successful following because the way that, like Instagram, Facebook, all these sites that we're using to promote ourselves that are free, we're being censored. So if you say one thing that platform doesn't like and you don't have the money to back it up and put ads and promote and make sure you're not being shadow banned, you don't have the option. So, I had to argue with him. I was like, you do have to watch your P's and Q's to a certain extent. I said, because we're not Danielle Bradberry yet. And he's like, well, you have to stick to your brand. I said, I get that. I said, but you have to do it in a smart way. And he was actually quite taken back by it. I think he was kind of like, interesting. She's arguing with me. I was like, yes, I am.
And I do understand your point of view. It's like I understand the business side completely. It's just I rail against the business side because there had to be a point in our lifetime or somebody else's lifetime where somebody railed against something in the music and scene and they were successful at it. You know what I mean? Because I think there is a big for
and I think there are people that have done that. Like for example, look at Walker Hayes. His stuff is so untraditional. Right. But what did he do? He got his stuff to go viral on TikTok. And again, he still had a budget. He still had people, he was paying to help that happen. That's what we're doing right now with one of my songs. We're trying to get the line dance to go viral. But, all these TikTok stars that we're talking to, all want $500+ just to do the dance and repost to their story. And it's like no. I need 30 of you to do that. That's 30 times 5. That's like $30,000. It's not, hold on, 5 times. It's $15,000. So, it's, but what he did though, he has changed it a little bit. He has changed kind of, what the standard is for music. And then you look at, that LV Shane guy who wrote the song about the, the stepson, I think it was, my boy. And that really resonated with people. It was something a little different than what you typically hear. So I think there is room. I just think, it's kind of one of those things where you have all these artists that have all this great music like that. But you know, who's going to pick it up, who's going to promote it, who's going to say, oh, that song is great. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's so tough to reach everyone these days, and I wish it could be changed in a heartbeat, but it can't.
I agree with you 100%, but I'm also the type of person that's going to tell you it can change. I mean, a person has to be willing to put everything they have in it. I mean, if you look at somebody like a rapper like Ludacris got by having back in the day when they had CDs and all this stuff, they still have them, but nobody uses them. From his trunk, and he pushed and he pushed and he pushed until he was heard. And I think the whole bottom line to this music industry is that you have to have enough perseverance to do it. I mean, you have people that just stand in the middle of a hallway and start singing, and they become viral. I believe that for each and every one of us, there's that one day something's just going to click for somebody. I know somebody that was
for sure, 100%.
Yeah, there was
100%.
A person that was performing at clubs all the time. It's one person said, "I really like your music. Here's money. I would like to promote you." So sometimes there's a time and a place. Sometimes I think if it's meant to be, it will be for you. I think there are people like me that like to push the button, push the edge, and say, well, I'm going to do this, and you're going to listen to it. Like I just released this song called Blocked. It's a country single called Blocked, and it's about blocking people on social media. I read about the things that people are doing. It sounds funny, and it's very cute. But
I'll have to listen to it.
And this is the first one where I see a lot of people are sharing it because people have done this in the past 3 years where they block people, you know. And I say go to cry about it on TikTok. So, you know, I try to make it engaging. I just can't, you know, get into this whole, well, you know, I got to compromise my artistry to do. Nah, it's just happening. Even if I never make $1 million for myself, I'll just be like, well, I did my thing. Y'all gonna remember me for doing my thing. But I get your point of view because it's extremely valid. Now, I'd like to play your music because we've been chatting. This has been such a great conversation. So tell me what the song "Ride That Bull" is about.
Okay, I think I sent you that one, and I sent you Time to Live, too. So we did touch on Time to Live. I don't know if you want to play that one first.
Okay, I can play that first. Let me play that first. And then we'll talk.
That was my lockdown song.
Lockdown song. Let's play it.
Me down on my knees. There's only one thing I can do that relieves the pain and sadness in my life has become. I grab my things, just cut the strings, and it's fine. I'm in my red dress, oh yeah, feeling alright. Yeah, my hair is a mess, but I'm living for tonight. I don't know where I'm going or where I begin. I know that one thing is for sure, still alive. It's time to live. 184 days, half of a year. Been such a long road and we still can't see clear. I know that one day it'll all go away, but until then I'll just keep dreaming for the day I can wear my red dress. Oh yeah, feeling alright. Yeah, my hair is a mess, but I'm living for tonight. I don't know where I'm going or
when I listen to that song, it's definitely one I would hear on the country radio stations. I mean, it is. It is. So
that was my like poppy EDM song. I was like, I gotta do something like this.
I mean, it's perfect for it. It should go viral. Now, tell me what "Ride That Bull" is about.
So, "Ride That Bull" is basically a song about a girl kind of like. Okay, so first of all, I had the idea about it because I would go into these bars. And, you know, these guys would just, like, come up to you, and they were just, like, idiots. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, just stop. Like, you're making such a fool of yourself. And then you get the really cocky ones that were like, you don't want to talk to me? Like, you don't want to dance with me? Like, right. Okay. And I'm like, no. So I wanted to write something that was kind of like, you know, in their face, like, stop it. Like, if you're gonna go talk to a girl, like, go talk to a girl. Don't be like a puffer fish where you just like puff up and, you know, think you're hot shit. So, yeah, that was kind of like my like thought for it. And then one night, like, I just had this random melody in my head, and I was like, oh my God, that's it. But I could not get it down. I couldn't get it down on paper, and I was just like, oh, I need someone else to like bounce ideas off. So my friend Brandon Conway and I got into the studio, and I'm like, okay, this is the tune in my head. I'm like, let's make this, you know, a song. So we got the chorus, and I'm like, okay, now the verse. So yeah, it kind of came to fruition. I was like, oh my God, now I have to do a video. Like, I already know what this video is going to be. And my good friend Evan Zisimopoulos, he's a phenomenal director and director of photography, and he's done all my videos, and he's like, yes, he's like, this is going to be amazing. We're going to shoot this video with this mechanical bull, and it was, yeah, the whole thing is just, it's so much fun, and I wish we had that 15,000 to put into this song, because it's been nothing but entertaining.
All righty. Well, let's play it. Ride that bull.
Hey, boy, I want to see you ride that bull now. Got my hair all done and I'm ready to have some fun. My boots are on tight and it's all about tonight. I see you standing there with that hey, that sexy stare. You think you're smooth and you got the moves, but you're acting like a fool. But I dare you now, get on that cow, let me see you ride that bull. Hey! Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride that bull. You just said that line that I hear every time. You're running out of steam, about to see a girl get mean. This is your last chance. Come on, boy, ask me to dance. I'm done with you, no games are through. You go ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride that bull. You falling off that time, the end of the line. You think you had a chance with me? That's kind of funny. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride that bull. Come on, y'all. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride, ride, ride it, ride, ride it, ride that bull. Ride that bull.
Another hit? What can we say? I mean, the songs fit all in that country, kind of country alternative, country pop. I mean, it all fits in there. So you should have some hits.
Should. That's the key word.
You should $1 million by now.
Right? Should.
Yeah. The ultimate word is should. This is, there are days I sit back and I'm like, do you really want to do music? It's a lot of work.
Girl, we all have those days.
I have them every day. And it's funny. It's funny because I'll say it and then somebody will send me an email or call me or text me. Oh, I really love this song. And I'm like, okay, universe, okay. I hear you.
Right.
But I'm like, you need to send me some money, number one. I need to go viral because there's so much Natalie can do. You need to send me somebody that says, you know what, I just want to sponsor your music so I can just really go. Because let's be honest, that's what we basically need. We need somebody that loves us so much that they're willing to sponsor everything that they believe in us. I went to this festival many years ago. It's called Midem in France. And looking for a manager and all that stuff. And they basically told me, the best manager that you will get is somebody that believes in you, and it's usually like either a very good friend or a relative that just loves you and loves everything that you do. And it's really, and I've come to realize that that's very true. And that wants to dedicate time to really push your music. Now, I have people in my life that say, oh, I love what you're doing. I want to do this and I want to do that. And they've helped me a lot, but it's just like you need like 20 personal assistants to get everything going, and you can only do what you can.
So much. Yep.
That with what you have.
Yep.
I literally put myself in debt for my music. That's how much I love music.
Yep. Yep.
And that's what we all are doing, though. And people just don't realize that. So then my next question for you is, what are the 3 things you've learned since what are the 3 things you wish you had known before you got into the music business?
I don't know. I mean, I think for me, I wish my parents had known. I think that really would have been the key for success, because they had no idea, and I did everything on my own. I learned everything myself, and I took classes. I did tons of research. I still do so much research on just the ever-changing ways of doing things in this industry, and you just, like you said, you don't have enough time. So realistically, I wish that I had just had someone who already knew all these things as a young child, because, I wanted to move out to California and LA when I was like 15. That's what I wanted to do, but that wasn't an option. That wasn't something my parents could do. So, I had to wait. I had to wait until I graduated college, and then by then I was like, well, okay, now I'm 21, and these kids on Radio Disney and stuff like that are, already famous. And, I had always told my mom, I said, I just wish I could have started earlier. I think that's honestly, if I had anything I could have wished for, that would have been it. I think everything else I've been able to kind of master, but there's really no secret. There's really no set formula to how to do it. It's just, they say in acting, it's when, luck meets, or it's opportunity meets luck, essentially, is what it is. Or no, what is the saying? It's when talent meets luck or something like that. It's basically like, there are so many talented people out there, but not everybody's going to get that break because there's just so much. But it's basically, at the end of the day, being lucky and working really, really hard.
That's what I say. I say that all the time. You just need that one damn big break.
Well, it's not just one. I'll be honest with you. It's not just one, because I did have that. I was on TV shows and co-stars, and, I worked with celebrities, and, I've been around these people, and it's not just one. You have to continue to just, make those connections and find those people. And, you know, after that hype goes away, you're starting over again. So it's really like, it is meeting the right people for sure. I don't know if it's necessarily like that one break in the entertainment industry though, because you can do that and then you think you're good, okay, and then you don't get anything for 2 years, and you're like, well, I was just at the top of the world. What the heck happened? So it's a lot. There's a lot of roller coasters in it, I think, and you know, once you start making a lot of money from it, I think that's when you're pretty well set. Sadly.
There's that, and I do agree with you on that in a sense, because I see people that, you know, there's a whole concept of the one-hit wonder. There's this one woman, she was at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and she just started singing. And then she got to sing at Hillary Clinton's convention, whatever thing, or that was yodeling supermarket. I think these people tend to have that one big thing that happens in their life. Now, what they do with that is totally different. Do they continue with it? And just because they had that one big break, you're right, it doesn't mean that it's going to go anywhere further. Sometimes.
Well, right. I mean, unless someone's offering to sponsor them and to give them money for that, they're not going to do anything else.
Exactly what I said. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But what I do know about this whole industry is that you really have to believe in yourself, in your music, and you just have to persevere, and you have to keep going, doing it. I mean, if you don't really believe in yourself, and there's no point in doing it. If you don't believe in your music, there's no point in doing it. You know, I'm a type of person that can listen to my music on repeat 100 times over. And I'll tell myself, oh, you did that thing, Natalie. You sit, and I'll dance to my music. If you don't love it, nobody else is going to love it. That energy is in your music. And if you feel passionate about your craft, continue to do it, because somebody out there is listening. And that's the noise that I have to keep in my ear every time I'm like, okay, here I go again. I just released the song. Got to start pushing it. How do I get it here? How do I get it here? There, I got to get the new issue of the Indie Bible. I have to start writing people, Spotify playlists, this, that, and the other. And there's so many different mechanics that go along with pushing a song, not like back in the 60s when you could just walk into a radio, here's a little 45 record, and say, can you play this?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they would have. It is way harder now to get somebody to say, oh, my God, I really like this. Oh, I'll play it. I'll play it for you. Like that. We have too many machines between TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, this chat, Clubhouse, da-da-da. And it would seem that it's a lot easier for us because people can just go online, check out our music and stuff like that. But it's a lot harder because now you release a song, you have to inundate people with that damn single, which I hate doing, over and over.
I know.
Use it on TikTok. You know you like to block people. You know that you're done with this. Use it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. TikTok has a new thing that I use, promote. I use it, blah, blah, blah. I don't know who they promote to. But anyway, I use that. I mean, and you have to come up with ideas all day long just so they can go out and stream. And here's the funny thing. It is hard to get people to stream your music. Streaming is basically free. It's $10 a month, but boom, you press a button. Listen to it for a couple of seconds. You don't like it? You don't ever have to listen to it again. But even doing that, getting people to stream your music, it's
impossible.
But it's hard. People, and then you run into the thing. Oh, I don't even do the pre-saves on iTunes anymore. What the hell for? The people will purchase the thing for. I have some friends and family members that will, but they won't. They'll spend $5 on a cup of coffee at Starbucks. They won't press the button to play $1.29 for your single, my single, whoever's single is out there. You know what I mean?
I know. It's ridiculous. Yeah. I do.
And then these people at the conference, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. You know, I'm a voting member with the Recording Academy, and they're always, you know, you guys just have to market and promote. I said it, and
screw you too. Screw you too, yeah.
Yeah, and look at the people we're competing against, mainstream artists.
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard for us to be seen. In the pop genre alone, when you're voting, there are 900 submissions. They give you 2 weeks. How? Okay, so I'm going to sit and try to listen to 900 submissions when I want to try to listen to people I don't know, but people normally just listen to the people they do know.
Right.
This business is tough.
I know, girl. I know.
You're like, you're
one of these days, right?
So for my last question for you is, what do you love about being an artist?
Well, now that we've just, you know, presented all of the things we don't like on the table, you know, I don't know. It's one of those things. I couldn't tell you. It's just, it's inside me. It's something that I just have to do. I don't know. My husband's like, you picked the hardest career path. I was like, I did, because I like challenges.
Yeah, you're like
so
me.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
But you know, I love performing in like an intimate setting, and I love to see the reaction on people's face. I love the community of music.
I like the other way around. I like it so I don't see their faces.
I don't want to see your face.
I like to feel the energy of people. I don't like to see them.
I like the energy. I like the way music makes me feel. I am happiest on the stage. I will not lie to you. I am happiest when I'm recording it. I am happiest when I'm singing. And I've met wonderful people through the industry. And I have to say, music has been my saving grace. I really don't know where I'd be without it. That's the bottom line. You know.
Yeah, same.
So we have to keep, you know, we have to let that superpower grow and continue to persevere and do our thing and be heard. And you know what? We're getting it done. We're getting it done. We just have to keep, even if it takes us till we become 100 years old, we're getting it done.
One of these days, right? One of these days.
One of these days. Thank you so much, Erin, for being on Chatting with Nat. It has been a wonderful conversation for me. I've learned a lot. I definitely follow you everywhere, not like a stalker, but I will.
It's okay. We have a few of those, right?
Yeah, we do. And hopefully one day soon we can do an IG Live. That would be a lot of fun. And continue our conversations there. Thank you again, and let me see. In the body of this thing here of the Blog Talk Radio, you can find Erin's press kit at www.erincosgroveofficial.com/press kit to learn more about her. Or hell, you can just Google. Google is a beautiful thing. Google is my friend.
Yes.
Google Erin Cosgrove, and you'll find so much amazing music by her, and you'll learn more about her, and that's just going to be phenomenal. So thank you again, Erin, for being on Chatting with Nat.
It's been my pleasure. Great chatting with you too, girl.
All right. And everybody, that was the wonderful country pop rock artist, Erin Cosgrove. Until next time on Chatting with Nat. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.